Can you do that a little bit more? But
I can do it more.
Okay, we're pre-live counselors, we are live now. I'd like to welcome the members of council to our public meeting, June 20th, 2024. It is 12:04 p.m. We also have members of our management team here with us today. No guests in our lobby, but we do have 9 attendees that have logged on, and thank you very much for logging on. Learn about all the great things that are happening in Stephenville, Canada. So I'd ask a member of council that we call the meeting to order.
move.
Moved by Councilor Darren Roberts,
Second.
second, Councilor Myra White, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Item number 2, our land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge the town of Stephenville as the ancestral homeland of different populations of indigenous people. We also acknowledge with respect the rich histories and cultures of the Lenape, the Mi'kmaq, Innu, and Inuit of the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Item number 3, the approval of the agenda. Be it resolved to approve the agenda for June 20th, 2024 as presented. I'd ask a member of council to move.
Move.
Moved by Councilor Darren Roberts, seconded by Councilor Laura Aylward. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Okay, item number 4, the approval of the minutes. Be it resolved to approve the public meeting minutes dated June 6, 2024, very signature day that we landed on the beaches of Normandy.
And my birthday too.
And
Oh, couldn't miss
they
it.
say June baby's got something special going on. Did you ever hear that?
Oh,
No question, Councillor Elwood is special.
Okay, item number 4, did we get
no, not yet.
all in favor?
I interrupted.
Okay, all in favor.
You need
Aye.
move.
Second by Councilor Roberts, second by Councilor Laura Elbert. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Are there any matters arising from the minutes? No matters arising. I also want to note that we do have absence Councilor Maurice Hines. I believe he is traveling to see family. So I hope he has a really good vacation. 6 proclamations and delegations. We have nothing for today. And Finance Committee, we're going to turn it over to Darren Roberts as our Chair of Finance. Just had a little bit of eye drops put in her eyes for some eye care. So how's your eyes today, Councilor Roberts?
No one's better
Okay.
when you're working late at night.
Okay, so we'll turn it over to Darren Roberts to chair our Finance Committee meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First item, accounts payable. Be resolved to pay accounts payable for June 20, 2024 in the amount of $178,428. So
Move back Councilor Darren Roberts, second.
Second.
Second, Councilor Myra White.
Mr. Mayor, just to give people some line of where the 178,000 going on. What's on the some of the numbers quick because we do have 2 things to go through after this public meeting. The thing doing the drafting $3,580. I mean that's the for the engineering that on Russell Heights. The battlefield equipment $2,500. That's the parts in it for our equipment. Boyd and Bungie construction, 19,355.20. Part of that is our spring cleanup, and part of it is equipment repairs and parts for our equipment. It's coastal glass, 3,792.65. Some of that is signs, some of it is the Wingmont depots, which are going to be unveiled the morning 5
Yes.
7 o'clock. We're certainly inviting people out to any times for that. Cadenroy sanitation, 23,736.26, just for $24,000, but that is our curbside collection in town. So I mean, that's a reoccurring monthly charge. Crane supply, again, a reoccurring The supplier, 15,158.10, and that's for piping valves and stuff for our public works department, which helps keep the water coming out of your tap when you turn it on in the morning. The Harvey and Company, 5,025, which again is parts for our equipment. Another reoccurring one every month is our gas and fuel for our equipment. As people can appreciate, the May month, when not much snow, the number drops from previous months, so but still considerable, 11,172. Signers equipment, $5,700. Again, that's with equipment repairs and parts. So then we get into UAP, 6,638.21. Again, that's parts net for our equipment. So you mean you hear all these parts net for our equipment when you got a fleet of loaders and dump trucks and plows and everything else on the go. It's a considerable quantity to keep it going. Here's a big one: Western Regional Waste Management. For May month, 57,922.92. That is higher than most months, but a lot of this one is our spring cleanup, because you mean regardless whether we pick it up or a contractor picks it up, when it gets to the waste management site in St. George's, we have to pay Western Regional Management site $164 a ton. So just for May month, when you look at what we pay Western Regional Waste Management and our contractor, I mean, that's 81,659.18 just to deal with our garbage in May month. So you mean it's sometimes people say we're talking money going, but when you look at over $80,000 in just that 1 month, you mean, and that's normally down 40 odd in the mid 40s. So you mean it takes a considerable
But-
to clean up.
I have a question. When we come to the committee meeting, is it necessary that we discuss all of this? Because we're going to go to the public meeting and we're also going to explain it to our constituents that are watching. Is it possible that everybody could review that, come to the table if they're not sure exactly what any particular item would be? And then we go to the public meeting and then we'd have an explanation instead of bringing up everything, because I think it's just duplicating work.
No, and I mean, at the committee level, when we go through the accounts payable listing or the expense check listing, I mean, the finance committee has responsibility to go through it. If there's any questions that should be asked, is asked at the committee level. As this past week, there was a couple of questions came up. Management went out and researched it, came back into the committee with the answer, and then as a committee, we bring it forward to council as a whole. Now, when it comes to council as a whole, everyone gets the agenda. So, and we're all expected to review the agendas, and you get a listing of the accounts payable and the expense check listing. So if anyone that's not on the finance committee has a question, well, they have ample time to ask the question too.
I understand that. But I also understand that when I read most of this as well, I also look at the amounts of money that's being expended. And if I had a question, I certainly would be bringing it up, right? So it's not that, it's just, it seems like we're saying the same thing at the committee meeting as to the public. Now, if we look at something, anybody looks at any of this and says, you know, there's an issue, or I'd like to have an answer, you know, to that amount of money, then we would bring it up at the committee meeting, so that when we went to the public meeting, we would all know exactly what it is about, right? So we tell those details to the public because they may not understand. But I think most of us sitting around here, when we look at the invoice and seeing a big amount of money, we would all question it, like what is that? Can we look at the invoice? Can we do this or do something else, right, to get an answer? So that's what I'm saying. I just feel like going through every big amount of money and saying it to me, like I'm part of the group. I understand exactly what's written here.
Yeah, but when I read out the larger numbers, I mean, I probably only read out the 10, maybe 15% of the numbers around accounts payable. But when we read out the numbers at the public table, That is not that's not for council information, because we already all got it. It's for public information, so they got an understanding of where $178,000 went last month.
Yeah, I understand. I understand when I read all of these numbers and I exactly what is being spent on it. And I, like you, didn't, if I read it and looked at it and did not have a question concerning it, then I would know exactly what's going on. So when we go to the public meeting, we can say that invoice, the amount of money, and anybody sitting at the table got a question, they can ask it then and we'll just go on.
Okay, so what
At
are
a
you,
public meeting.
so what are you,
Well, so if,
what are you suggesting we do?
pardon?
What are you suggesting we do?
Well, I don't think it's necessary to read out every big amount of money. Because I think that we're quite, I want everybody just to say, well, you know what, how much is that bill and why is that bill that high? Can we look at the, the
Yeah.
invoice and stuff like that? But you read out a lot at the committee meeting, and then we're going to go through that again at the public meeting. That's for the public, and that's what we should be taking to the public. The things that would be those big things, but I think everybody sitting around here is understanding about what we're paying and would ask the question, because you read them all off, but you know.
No, I don't read them all out. Like I just said, you mean, I mean, today, I mean, I didn't work out the percentages exactly, how many I read out, but I mean, the maybe 10 or 15% of the one, the listing that's on the accounts payable. The larger numbers, so the public has somewhat of an understanding.
I understand, but I understand too, when I look at it and I want to question it, I would ask for the copy of the invoice and that kind of thing besides, before I went to the public meeting. So if there's any questions, we would actually let the public know, right?
Well, I think what Myra's saying is a lot of these items on that expense is every day, every month we buy from Crane Supply, and that's normal. We pay pensions, we pay this, we pay that. A lot of these big numbers are just stuff that we pay all the time. You know, it's not anything new. I can see, you know, if you had an item on there that was like between $30,000 and $50,000, that you would maybe read it out. But in the past, of all my years of being here, we've never ever gone through like that. We have been, the finance chairs have over time said, oh, I'll note you this item. This is a one-time item. It's a grant to, say, example, to the dome or something like that. But, you know, it's just something that takes up a fair bit of time if you're gonna, you know.
Are you saying that you don't think Councillor O'Brien should read out the stuff at each public meeting? Is that what you're
Company,
saying?
no, at the committee meeting.
Okay,
So,
does he read it at a committee meeting?
No,
well, he just went through,
This is a public meeting.
I thought we were at the, sorry.
Oh, you're talking from the committee meeting. In that case, Councillor, Mr. Mayor.
Getting dropped.
So I turn
deep.
turn back to the finance and results.
glad we got that solved. Number two,
Councillor White, don't worry about it, we all have moments.
number two, request
I
for
I don't
funding.
hear.
Request for funding SCDC Friendly Invasion Festival. Be resolved to give a grant amount of $3,872 to SCDC to host events from July the 1st to 28, 2024. So move.
Second.
Question? Go ahead, Councillor.
First of all, let me say that this is in no way indicative of support or lack of support for a particular group. However, a number of years ago, two, I think, we recognized that we were following a very kind of haphazard process of providing grants to groups. They were basically making requests at any time that it was needed, and we were coming together as a council and deciding on whether or not it should be approved or not approved. we weren't then recognizing the amounts or holding groups accountable to report back and so on. So we recognized that it was not a good process. And we had a committee put in place who worked very hard to find a process that we felt would hold everyone accountable, council, members of the community who received loans, et cetera. And part of that was about a twice-a-year process, for which every community group that had received grants in the past were made aware of the change. And they have been reminded regularly of that change. And having a deadline meant that we could work both with our budget, but with groups in a way that worked. If we now recognize that someone missed the deadline, although they were aware, but for whatever reason missed the deadline, and now we say, okay, then we'll give it to you anyway, then I would suggest that means anybody else who misses the deadline has the same opportunity, which will eventually bring us back to the haphazard process of making the decisions right on the spot. So I just wanted to say that that's why I'm not comfortable supporting it.
Deputy Mayor, in that regard, I mean, I think everyone around the table would agree with you regarding the process and the cutoff times and all that. I mean, we also had the concern at the committee level, but we felt that it's a fairly new process. I mean, we're dealing with all volunteers. Volunteers change from one year to the next commit, but as a town, you mean we're more than aware who normally comes to us each year, whether it's for the summer season or for the winter season, looking for money. So we said this year we would entertain it, but going forward we would make sure that all these groups are quite aware that there are deadlines in place for us to meet. But rather than miss out on this year, and especially I mean when you look at the Stephenville Cultural Destination Committee, and we had questions what they were going to do with the $3,800. And I mean, just to give a quick run through on that, I mean, it will be the closed event for July 28th. I mean, musical stuff for the fires on the beach, and I mean, so I mean, there's stuff there for the seniors, there's stuff there for the kids, and all that stuff. So
none of which is really tourism destination for Stephenville. If you look at the seniors tea party and all, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm just saying that these groups were made aware. They did know when the grants were happening. And again, if we vote to allow that, I would invite groups who missed the deadline to go ahead and apply and expect that they'll get the same response. But again, that's just me. I just wanted to clarify my vote.
Part of the reasoning on this at our discussion, this group, my understanding, received money in 2023. So we give them the benefit of the doubt that they were not aware of.
So they didn't get any money to receive their usual amount of money?
So
Well, what were they using to proceed with their activities?
Well, I'd say they probably got grants. They were like.
Other grants maybe, but there were no other, I think we checked that, there was no other grants to them in the last 12 months.
So based on that
There were
assumption,
Groups that I thought we gave, like the Stephenville Festival,
We
SCDC.
didn't do SCDC this year.
so based on that, I give them the benefit that they weren't aware of the process. That's why I was in favor of it.
So I got a question, not just from a fiduciary responsibility. I need staff to ensure in our finance department to ensure that when we get a request in from an organization, whether it's for-profit, nonprofit, that we validate that the check we're writing out matches their incorporation legal name. Because what that does is protect us with public accounts for improprieties, should they happen. And we know it all happens sometimes in organizations.
And not, Mayor, I understand where you come from on this, but not specific to this group for any reason other than they go by SCDC, everyone calls them that, but effectively the corporate name is a little different. So, and we always verify and check those to ensure, as, you know, our Counselor Roberts knows as a, you know, CPA. Hey, to the wrong end.
Yeah,
Yeah, well.
Haggard.
Retired.
Thought you were working this
Yeah,
way.
yeah. Did you get RET after that?
No, I gotta pay for it, not paying for it.
There you go. He's chosen not to. But we certainly do. And likewise, we've had a number of agreements presented to us for us to sign off on where we've had to change the corporate name. Anyway, that's aside from the current discussion.
Just good due diligence on our part, and it was good findings from our CAO on doing some checking with the registry.
Move for seconder.
Who seconded? We already had the second.
Darren moved to I seconded.
Yeah.
You gotta call for the vote.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contraband. Two contraband. Noted, Jennifer. Both Mara and Susan and contraband. Okay, motion carried.
Okay. Next item, number three. Next item, number three, project approval, 17 MCW 25-00064, water supply improvements. Be resolved that the town of Stephenville accept cost shared funding as outlined in the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure Project Approval Letter dated, excuse me, 29th of May, 2024. Project number 17 MCW-25-00064, water supply improvements with total project value $1,970,296. This council agrees to provide multiple share of $357,347 and authorize the mayor and the town clerk to enter into the funding agreement with the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. So moved.
Moved by Councilor Darren Roberts, second by Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow, all in favor.
Aye.
Motion carried.
To that, there will be a follow-up request to council to approve a borrowing initiative for the other portion. That's part two.
Number four, request for donation, Garden of Hope. Be resolved that the town team provide a donation amount of $500 to the Garden of Hope, Sir Thomas Roddick Hospital. So move.
Moved by Councilor Darren Roberts, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor O'Brien, all in favor.
Aye.
Carried.
Number five, approval to award tender, supply and delivery, winter sand. Be resolved to award tender for supply and delivery of 2,000 tons of winter sand to lowest bidder, $22.90 per ton plus HST. So move.
By Councilor Darren Roberts, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Myra White, all in favor.
Aye.
Carried.
Number six, approval to award tender, supply and delivery Class A 2024. Be resolved to award tender to supply and delivery of 1,000 tons of Class A to lowest bidder Boyd and Bungay at $17.90 per ton plus HST. So moved.
By Councilor Darren Roberts, seconder. Second, Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow, all in favor.
Aye.
Carried.
Seven, approval to award tender, supply and delivery topsoil 2024. Be resolved to award tender, supply and delivery of 500 tons topsoil to lowest bidder Boyd and Bungay at $16.40 per ton plus HST. So moved.
Moved by Councilor Darren Roberts, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councilor Tom O'Brien, all in favor.
Aye.
Carried.
Number eight, approval to submit application, Canada Community Building Fund. Be resolved that the town of Stephenville will submit its capital investment plan to the Department of Municipal and Provincial Affairs for Canada Community Building Fund in the amount of $94,430 to purchase Astera satellite leak detection system. So move.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Darren Roberts, second by Councilor Laura Aylward.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just to elaborate on that, the $94,000 in the satellite leak detection system, so people got a bit of an understanding of what we're spending $94,000 on, and more importantly, why we're spending $94,000. I mean, a community of our size with our population is in the acceptable range of water usage, it'd be 425 gallons per minute. However, we're using much more than that. I mean, during the day, we're using 1,300 gallons per minute, which I mean, is over 3 times what kind of acceptable range is. In the night time, we're still using 1,000 gallons per minute. So during the day, there's 875 gallons of water being used over and above what's an acceptable standard. The nighttime is 575 gallons per minute. So I mean, it's a tremendous amount of water. I mean, the total excess usage per day, if you want to calculate it out over the day and the night, I mean, you're talking over 1 million plus gallons per day. 1,050,000. You mean it's in a year, if you just do the math, I mean it's 383,250,000 gallons per year that is over above the acceptable level. Yes, we may have some water abusers in town, but we don't have that many water abusers in town. Our leak detection system that we've been using with our own workforce, and that causes considerable money each year. And on average, I think we find 0.04 leaks per day, or like I say,
0.4 leaks per day,
or 0.04, 2 per week. 2 per week.
2 per week.
Two per week, yeah, so 0.4. So under the satellite system, I mean, and this company is doing this for hundreds of communities in North America, that goes up to 3.5 leaks found. So we need to zero in on it. Earlier in the finance, we approved an item $1.9 million to improve our water system, putting in more wells, but we just can't keep putting in more wells. I mean, we also have to address the usage over and above an acceptable level. This system hopefully is going to help our public works department to zone in on exactly how many leaks we got, which are the bigger leaks. We address the bigger leaks first, and then methodically work through the system. So I mean, this is a 1-year thing that we're trying, but I mean, we've got no choice. I mean, our water is in a I would say, I mean, a fairly critical stage at this point. I'm trying to get all this done. So I would end off by saying, we ask people to conserve water wherever they can.
I just want to add a couple of things there too. It's a multitude of problems. We have old infrastructure, and like we're doing Main Street this year. Most chances there's possibly leaks on Main Street, or if not, they're about to come because the infrastructure is so old. So doing upgrades, MCW is going to be critical. But you got to realize too, it's not just our leaks. You got 3,000 residents. A lot of people sometimes will have a leaky faucet. Some have a malfunction trap in your toilet, and sometimes the water is continuous running. So there's a lot of areas out there, and maybe it may be time to do a nice communique out to our residents about water conservation measures, because we've done that in the past. So maybe it might be a good time to get a circular sent out in the mail about, you know, taking care or mitigating issues around leak detection on residents, commercial properties. We have to do our part. But what's great about this is an advancement of technology. These satellites are 400 miles above the planet's surface. They scan it, and they're so accurate that they can determine if the leak is actually potable water or storm drainage or sewer. And this is going to give some real data to our engineering department to determine what to prioritize when it comes to getting fixed. So in 2025, we're going to put a list in for our MCW projects. This technology and this scan will give our engineering department the data to ensure that, and it could be King Street. Like we got a lot of issues on King Street. That could be a priority. We've been digging it up. There's a lot of oak trees there, or popular trees. That could be part of the problem. Root systems that's tearing up our water lines. So I'm really supporting this because it's an advancement of technology to get us the job done better.
Yeah, I mean, a good example of that there is, Queen Street, the week before last, or maybe 3 weeks ago, we were down on Queen Street and fixed one leak. In the last couple of days, 40 feet down the road, there was another leak. And ironically enough, those two leaks leaked in the section of Queen Street between the light St. George's Avenue, which we got planned to pave this year.
Yeah.
Right, so, I mean, this system's gonna go a long ways in helping us improve the infrastructure.
Any, from, management, any idea, once this is approved, how fast that this could happen in a scan if we get the vote of approval today?
Maximum 3 weeks, because
Yeah,
they have to book the satellite and then the satellite has to achieve the right orbit
okay,
to book the scanners, so 3 weeks.
Wow.
moves.
That's good. Mm.
that's good news.
Yeah.
So all in favor?
I,
Just one other point, and not to throw a constraint on it or anything of that nature, but the other part is we will apply for this, this fund, says Community Building Fund. We will also, and that normally takes 2 to 3 weeks to get an approval from, if in fact it can be dealt with through that fund. If not, we will take alternative measures to ensure that the funding is secure before proceeding. So, but I do know it's a high priority and we'll do whatever we can to get this going as quickly as possible.
So if you're saying it takes 2 to 3 weeks for approval through this fund, we got to wait before we contract the company, which then puts in another 3 weeks or possibly 4 weeks, depending on where the satellites to it in orbit at that time. So we could be talking 7 or 8 weeks out, a couple of weeks.
But, okay, let me put this to you this way.
6 weeks.
Council can, and I understood in the finance meeting that council said, we need to do this regardless of the funding source. It's right now, the cost to us of water that's just basically leaking is huge. And on that basis, maybe even a rewording of the approval so that we can, we apply to the fund. However, if that appears to be difficult, that we'd be approved to spend the money out of council's resources. And I think that we should have that. So then we can do it quickly
that.
and go from there. And a rewording would be,
Yeah.
Okay.
You're good on the pickup.
yeah.
We need to get this done sooner rather than later, because you mean our construction season is slow too, right?
Yes, so we, sorry,
Procedure,
I suggest maybe put another motion forward, because the application for CIP is very specific, resolution is very specific.
okay, so we could probably do an additional motion in the event of, okay, it'd be 8.1, so motion 8.1 would be approval to
Award the contract.
award the contract,
How do you say that? How do you say the name?
Estera.
Mr.
Sarah,
contract to Estera.
We have the $94,430.
Whatever, yeah.
Yeah, Estera, and they're the only provider, there are no others.
The general way, like.
Uh,
go about it.
Using,
Can I clarify the timings on those two? Don't mind. So once we get them to go ahead, up to 3 weeks for them to achieve the scan, they have to review the data, make sure the data is of high enough quality. They must then process the data through their algorithms, which could be another 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So there's additional time beyond just waiting.
Right, so the sooner we start, the better, is the message.
Okay.
I just wanted to avoid having to wait 3 weeks for approval from a fund before we started that process.
yes,
Okay, council.
Okay, 8.1, be resolved that town of Stephenville purchase Estera satellite leak detection system in the amount of $94,430. So move.
Moved by Councilor Galen Roberts, second.
Second.
Second, Councilor Myra White, all in favor?
All right.
Right.
Carried.
Number 9, approve to purchase exhaust handling system. Be resolved to approve purchase Niederman exhaust system for the fire department at estimated cost of $92,500 plus HST. So move.
Moved by Councilor Galen Roberts, second.
Second,
Second, Councilor Tom O'Brien.
just to expand on that, Mayor, I mean, that's the exhaust system So I mean, when an emergency call comes in and they should start up all of the equipment in the fire hall, one can appreciate how much fumes comes from diesel trucks. There is a system over that was put in many years ago. It doesn't meet current regulations by any standard. I mean, this is a system that basically hooks onto the truck's exhaust system. The firefighters jump aboard. They don't even have to unhook the system. The system unhooks itself when the truck gets to the door. So you mean, and especially with our department, we got people over 24/7. So I mean, there's sleeping quarters over there. I mean, we need to address the air quality, and this system will do that.
So, not long ago, they had a request for a big purchase too. That was the boat.
Bunker gear and the boat wasn't as much, but.
The vote was fine.
Bunker gear was, yeah, $78,000.
78,000, so this is, so we're talking now, we're getting into about 180,000 so far this year, above and beyond their budget, right?
Some of last year's budget did carry forward, but ultimately, so I think it's manageable within our budget strategy that we have. And we're going to find the money somehow for this, and we may very well apply for government support for it. Although in this case, we think for life safety issues and occupational health and safety issues, we need to get this in ASAP. It affects not just the people in the fire department, potentially affects people here.
I don't disagree at all. I was just kind of.
Yeah.
Want to say that if, when we get to that piece, there's going to have to be a look at not getting anything that's not an absolute necessity for a little while to kind of get that back on track. But
Yep.
as long as there's a way to do it, we should, yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate your concern.
Okay, all in favor?
All right,
Carried.
that's it for me.
Any late for finance?
That's it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Councillor Darren Roberts. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to our Chair of Planning and Traffic, Councillor Laura Elward.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Planning and Traffic. The Planning and Traffic Committee met on June 18th, 2024. And the following items were recommended for council approval. Be it resolved that the following permits be approved as presented. Applicable permits will require inspections, licenses, and permits as required by Service Newfoundland Labrador. First item, 149151 Main Street, North Sun Energy. Relocate existing business, Orange Store, from 153-159 Main Street to building located at 149151 Main Street. Next item, 143 Main Street, Century 21, erect signage on the exterior of the building. And last item, quarry permit, be it resolved to approve quarry permit to rock.
No, that's the next one.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I said Century 21.
Yeah.
No,
Yes,
no,
I see.
just the end of it.
Yeah, the next one's number 2.
Yeah, but we
We
did.
got both.
Second.
Move.
Oh, I thought I could move all of them at the one time.
Well, all of the permits.
Only if they were
But
number.
that's the ones listed on number 1.
Oh, okay. I so move.
Councillor Laura Elward, second.
Second.
Second, Deputy Mayor Susan Powell.
Number 2.
All in favor?
All right,
All in favor? Carried.
Something in the air.
Oh, my.
There's something on the end of the table today.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's the
I'll move.
way,
Yeah.
it's the way it's
I'll
written.
let you read the end lines.
I'm not used to it being written that way, but anyway.
and I said it dead on the table.
You have some of that? Let me give my purse.
All right, number 2, quarry permit. Be it resolved to approve quarry permit to rock construction as per map submitted. The quarry is located in Stephenville Crossing, but includes a portion within the Stephenville planning boundary. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Laura Elward, second Councillor Myra White, all in favor? Carried.
And that's it.
That's it? Okay.
Yeah.
So there was one which, And again, it's within the power of management to do it with, in that matter of a parcel of land or unidentified, location that has no commercial value per se.
Right,
And, that we're proceeding with that item, not to create an interest that's not there, but it's ultimately a $500 transaction that, will allow them to proceed. So we are working on getting that one good as well.
Yep.
Although that one doesn't require motion.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, item number 8, bylaws and regulations, we have nothing there. How about unfinished business?
I'm gonna give you a break today.
Okay, how about new
I
business?
got an item.
Okay,
You
Council.
mentioned earlier about our Main Street reconstruction. Any timeframes or?
Still working with the engineering company. It looks like it's going to be August.
He says on a good time of year, just be starting.
August to start construction?
What's the construction period? Okay.
The last thing they said was what, Matt, that it's under ministerial executive review now.
No, yeah.
So what's the time frame from start to completion on that one?
6 to 8 weeks.
That's roughly what it is.
I was hoping to go later.
Yeah, when they say 68,
Great.
Yeah.
You're going to be in October.
No, they started in August, we still got some pretty good temperature for paving, end of September.
And warms up from Muslim.
Last year it was beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
I got a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to give acknowledgement to our management staff who put together our first Stephenville Synergy Symposium. It was held yesterday in the historic facility of the Royal Canadian Legion here in Stephenville, a signature venue for having such events. We had about 120 people register for the event, a really good turnout. I gotta say, staff did an impeccable job with the coordination, the flow, the IT setup. But most importantly, we had a signature lineup of signature industries that are working through their financial and business plans to ensure that they get final investment decision. And these projects are very large with a lot of direct jobs and indirect jobs. So the main 4 speakers that spoke yesterday were World Energy. They gave an update on their project. And just for anybody that's listening, they're still working towards final investment decision. Initially, it's going to be a 1 gigawatt of power from the Port Peninsula that will feed into current grid systems into Stephenville for a hydrogen plant to start shipping ammonia to markets in Europe. Final investment decision is anticipated in the first quarter of 2025. And from there, then permits will start flowing and the work will commence. The other companies was Atlas Salt. It was impressive to see that their business modeling was towards a green mining operation with minimum carbon associated with their operations, primarily a lot of electric vehicles for using drag lines to move the product. What was nice about, and that's primarily the project that's taking salt out of the ground for road salt into the North American market. The salt is at a 95% perfection, which is very, very high. Triple Point, which is a spin-off from the Atlas Salt, has a very unique, in their presentation, their dome is designed to have capture capabilities to store compressed air that could be released to turn a turbine and may have an ability, so a balance of power when the wind may not be blowing or Newfoundland Power, it's just like firing up a diesel generator. When you have demand, which would be January and February, which are the heaviest months of demand on Newfoundland Power and hydro. But their domes it's the only dome in North America, Eastern North America, that has highly compressed salt that will actually have the ability to store hydrogen, because the molecules are very small and it's non-permeable. So very unique. It's often said that if you could get a salt dome with the proper characteristics next to a hydrogen plant, it's almost like you got the cake and the icing and the candles all together. It's really good. The other signature company that's bidding on and doing a lot of stakeholder engagement will be having or looking at bidding on the work camps is a company called Aramark, which is a Fortune 500 company headquartered out of Philadelphia. They have 270,000 employees, very large companies. Myself, General College and BIA did a small presentation to add, but the meal was great, the venue was great, the questions were great, and we had good council representation. Myself, Councillor Aylward, Councillor White, and Councillor O'Brien attended, but I can't say enough about the staff because this was put on only a few weeks ago. And normally an event of this scale and this size with such an elite group of keynote speakers, normally it would take 6 to 9 months to put this together. But we did it in a couple of weeks. So Candace and Bill and team and everybody that played a role, Marilee and Matt and Mike, phenomenal. So I think this will become an annual event. The last time an event of industry scope that took place in Stephenville happened 20, 25 years ago when the oil and gas was humming on the Port Peninsula, when we had the Rowan Gorilla 3 out in the bay drilling, and we had, I believe it was Vulcan or CVQ on the peninsula, and the Hunt brothers out of Dallas. And I remember the crews rotating in and out from Houston. But it's our time now to take advantage of what's coming, but it looks very promising. And I got my fingers crossed that these projects will get final investment decision and we get to bring families home from the Newfoundland Labrador.
So just to that, again, all I had to do was show up. I did, helped where I could, but Candace and Marilee and others who helped in any way here with the staff, they deserve all the credit for doing this and pulling it off on short notice and to perfection, as well as I've ever seen any event.
I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, they did a phenomenal job and deserve all the credit. And like I say, all I did was speak a little bit, so.
I mean, talking to some of the attendees, and after you had yesterday and certainly got a couple this morning, they enjoyed it.
Yeah. Deputy Mayor Stephenville.
Yes, and unfortunately I wasn't able to attend, but I did talk to a number of people who attended and were very excited at how it went and what it offered. And I think, the idea behind the synergy of bringing the economic drivers together, it might be well worth looking at now a human service symposium as well, that brings together the people who work with the people to look at some of the potential developments, potential issues that may come to the forefront, but what the growth through this means to people who work in the human service fields, right? Because as you know, when there's economic growth, there has to be social growth at the same time. And if you don't move both of those at the same time, you're going to have trouble in one end or the other. So we've looked at the economic side. I think it would be a great balancer to look at the social side and have a kind of similar symposium, similar format, and perhaps even include some of the HR type people from some of these big businesses coming in.
Good point.
And I'd certainly be willing to, help out with that in terms of planning or whatever, if that's something we want to vote.
A couple of other things I want to mention is, Friday, a very important day for us. So at 5 o'clock at the former soccer field that's next to the Zion Pentecostal Church, across from the co-op in that green space, we prepped the site last fall. And we've been working for about 2 years on this project, but we're actually going to officially do the ceremonial opening of our new cultural space in Stephenville. So we'll be unveiling a couple of signature structures. I don't even want to say what they are right now because we're going to have them wrapped. But I would encourage all council, staff, members of the public. We've got some really good work there. And you know, I was thinking that this council, in the last 8 years, we've been really forging forward on the path towards reconciliation. And this is another significant step forward. And I'm thinking, and I was thinking, not that I'm poetic and stuff like that, because I rely on Deputy Mayor Susan Fowler to keep me on track there, better at it. But our path is so well worn in our journey on reconciliation that it reminds me of the worn trails that the caribou use on their migration paths, because I'm a bit of a caribou hunter, I know.
You chase the
So
carrot.
I had to do it as a little analogy. My dad is kind of saying, he's getting pretty deep over there.
Fingers in the fire.
Can we get that exhaust in there now?
We got a lot of support from our indigenous groups such as the Newfoundland Aboriginal Women's Network, the people of the Don, Halapu, our Empowering Indigenous Women, our Halapu Cultural, not Halapu Cultural, Mi'kmaq Cultural Center. So we've got signature groups. And when we were at the event the other day, you know, we had opening prayer from Elder and Dr. Calvin White, and Elder Frank Russell spoke and opened it up. And it really set the tone to have a very inclusive, collaborative event, and it just really went well. So I'm really excited for Friday, and I looked at the forecast. The weather's gonna be great. And Steve, well, how can you go? Like sometimes, do we even really have to look at the forecast?
No, not really, no. Are you, do you finish now, Mr. Mayor?
No, I'm.
Sure.
No.
Okay, one more.
Okay, I got one more. So I want to talk about the King Square that refers to as the town square. We're at the end of June. We haven't had one single event at that town square. Got $1 million invested in it. I'm embarrassed. So I think that we got to get a strong message to the BIA. Start utilizing it, start managing it, or turn it over to us to manage, even the manager. Keep the ownership, but let us manage it. So in the past, we had a lot of tourists come here in July and August. So I would like for management to consider, and we've done it in the past, that starting July 1st, that we would start hosting local talent in the town square every Sunday, sunny day from 2 to 4, and not big production, not purchasing big sound systems, stuff like that. Even just an acoustic, somebody on acoustic guitar. We have so much talent, so much artists. We got $1 million town square and it's closed. It's not even open. So I'm challenging management to go talk to the BIA and they come up with a plan so that that beautiful facility can have some utilization.
We've spoken a number of times about hiring someone, you know, whose job it was
Just to coordinate.
to do the events down there. We've had that conversation with BIA. Anyway.
Yeah.
It is disappointing.
I suggest, we do have a PI council on guy now, so just he take a PIA.
BIA rep. They have any plans for the summer.
Second note, in all fairness, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, you know, the planning council was rep on the BIA. Okay, At that time, we had a discussion about utilization of the town square. And I said at that time that I would talk to the DRI and all that stuff, which I did. Okay, to bring it up in such